I'll accept it. I'm not sure I still buy it, but I'll accept it and move on.
Get away this time, Howie. Welcome to Shelf Indulgence, where stories come alive in conversation. I'm Remy, your host and first-time reader, turning the pages alongside each guest as they revisit a book that has left its mark on them. Together, we linger over passages, chase down themes, and wander through the margins of a story worth revisiting. Whether you're turning the pages for the first time with me or revisiting a favorite alongside my guest, I'm glad you've joined us on this journey. And welcome back, my friends. We're in the middle of the chaos between the chapters of 64 and 73. This is the second half of that conversation. If you missed the first half, I highly recommend you go check that out in episode 12. Otherwise, hope you enjoy. Rolling on to chapter 68. We're back in still in Silo 18, but we are with Shirley and Walker. So Shirley's still flipping out that was absolutely Jules' voice.
Mm-hmm.
And, no way it could be mistaken. She doesn't understand how, quote unquote, his magical radio works.
I love how she just imagines that like the voice might be bouncing around in there still like a ghost.
Is it trapped down here?
So cute. Because like, of course she wouldn't know how it all works.
Of course not.
And I love that Walker, like he gets it. He understands. And he's like, no, that's not how this works.
Yeah. So she says it's above her pay grade, so to understand it, which is great. And so she's asking if they're ripples. Are these the ripples that he was talking about? Because it's theorizing on what the radio waves were doing. Mm-hmm. And she thinks it's some sort of electrical echo, and it's just fantastic. But Walk gets a curl at the edge of his lips, and he's like, no, this is now. This is happening as we speak. And thank God I'm not crazy. Because which shows that he knows when he talks to Scotty, he knows he's not real.
Yeah,
is what I'm kind of gonna gather from that. Like he knows that he's having conversations with someone that doesn't exist.
I think he's always known that, but like in the moment of the bomb going off, shaking the wall, and him like he's just going a little bit delusional slightly and like kind of losing grip on that reality just for a moment, but I think it was like a temporary loss instead of a permanent psychosis. Yeah,
it seemed like he was going off the deep end, but I think he just looked over the edge.
yeah, right. That's a good way of putting it. I also like when he's saying like this is happening right now, that it's stylized with all one word in italics, like happening right now, like this is happening right now.
I really appreciate when he does that. It's like he gets the point across very very well. And he says there are more of us out there, and she's alive. And this is where I said the ... for now, because she is in some trouble. But again, we focus on Shirley and her fear being gone. And this is where we find out the transmitter problem. He's like, oh, yeah, we can totally talk to him. Oh, shit. That was on my other workbench.
Yeah.
Sucks.
But he quickly realizes there's another option. And I like that.
Yeah. Well, but he begins to spiral. He begins to go into what Shirley is calling a spiral. So she kind of talks him into thinking about other solutions, which I really appreciate her as a character. Like that, to be able to talk somebody off the edge and make their spiraling become useful and get them out of it is such a great character trait and really fantastic.
And it's honestly like something that we could all work on being better at. I think so many of us could use that sort of help in our lives, and it's nice when you have somebody that can help you with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So he thinks of the mining transmitters, which, if I'm understanding correctly, these are the things that you push the button and the bomb goes off. That's a detonator. Okay, so apparently he feels that he can rig this to the radio and make it a transmitter, which fantastic. So Shirley's basically already running out the door by the time he finishes his sentence and gets held up by Jenkins. And Jenkins is like, nah, he had his chance. They're going to blow the stairwell. So we'll get into it a little bit more, but the stairwell that they blow is not the main stairwell. So there's a stairwell off to the side in mechanical after they go through the turnstile. I'm not sure how that all works.
I have a feeling mechanical is multiple floors of its own. And you probably have your like main mechanical entrance, and then from there you have all the stuff of mechanical. You get your generator room and all the different stuff, and you probably have to go up and down within that area because like the generator is probably huge, right? I can't imagine it's a small thing. Probably. So like you probably have multiple floors just within the generator room, probably like a catwalk and stuff like that. I don't know specifically what stairwell they're referring to, but that's kind of how I imagined it.
No, that's interesting. Yeah, because when it was talked about later, they say that it wasn't the grand stairwell, which I think is the first time we've heard that sentence as well, the grand stairwell. Yeah. But he basically says they're blowing the stairwell in 5 minutes. So she has 4 minutes to get back. Simple as that. Yeah. So she runs past the oil rig, which is non-functional, which is surprising because if they need fuel, but I guess if they need to refine it, it's a whole thing, probably not worth having it on, but it's off at the moment.
Might be just because they don't want to have anybody manning it. I don't know.
Yeah, or maybe power conservation, because if they're not going to be getting anything actually useful now, might not be useful to have on.
But like if you don't have anybody to refine it, what are you going to do with all that oil that's pumping out of the ground? So yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Off until you can actually handle that.
Right. So then she heads down the stairs. She startles somebody on the flight of stairs that's playing with TNT, which is not the smartest thing in the world. She's taken off. She's running past the apartments for the deep workers. So again, I figured my imagination of this place put pockets of apartments as like their own subsets, right? So I imagined here's the sheriff, here's, obviously we know that these are not in correct order. So, in no particular order. Here's medical, here's IT, here's the apartment block, here's the dirt farms, yada, yada, et cetera, et cetera. I expected the apartments to be their own kind of living area.
Like a full floor of just dormitories.
Yeah, it seems like those do exist, but the more specialized things like IT, mechanical, down deep, things like that have their own apartment complexes.
Well, I think they kind of suggested that like the medical area had its own apartments too. So
did they? I must have missed
sense.
That. Okay.
At least I got that sense from it. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm misinterpreting, but that's kind of the feeling I got.
No, it totally could be because I may not have remembered it, but it makes sense to house your people within, although it lessens the community, which also makes sense if you're trying to control a population. So it does make sense in the fact that they're trying to keep people separated for the most part.
Yeah.
And this also goes back to our first conversation of people not traveling up and down. There's no reason to. If you don't really know people, but it does say, people they haven't seen in years and friends and whatnot, but it's not someone you're going to work with on a regular basis, someone that you're going to know well. So it's just interesting. And there's a lot of talk about dynamite in this section. And I don't know much about glycerin. I don't know much about dynamite, but is that something that could be mined I suppose it would have to be. I don't know. I don't know enough about glycerin at all.
I have no idea how black powder is made.
Yeah, nor do I.
I don't know what it's made from. It's probably like a mineral or some shit like that. No idea.
It must be. Just an interesting thought because there's a lot of mention of it. And it's like for mining, yeah, you might need some, but there seems to be a lot lying around. So there's definitely been some created. Is it old stock? Is it, I just don't know. It's an interesting thing to be talking about all of a sudden because it wasn't discussed previously to my recollection.
I just asked Google, how do you make black powder? And instead of telling me, it was like, making black powder is extremely dangerous and carries a high risk of fire or explosion. And there's a little bit more to it, but it basically like told me nothing. It was like a warning instead of actually giving me the answer. Okay, so gunpowder consists of sulfur, charcoal, potassium nitrate. So
potassium nitrate.
I imagine they would have at least charcoal and potassium nitrate that they can get from the ground. Probably sulfur too. I just don't know like where you find sulfur. I'm not really sure. But regardless, like they could probably make it from the stuff that's in the ground. I mean, we obviously had to make it from something in real life. Like everything around us comes from the ground somehow, right?
But it's always a matter of like there are mineral rich areas. There are specific mineral rich areas. Like I can't imagine you can get sulfur or whatever the hell you just said at any point in the earth. Like could I dig in my own backyard and eventually find that? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know enough about it. So that's my curiosity. Is that just something that exists everywhere and could allow the opportunity of dynamite creation. I don't know.
Yeah, here's actually, so, okay. Sulfur is found in volcanic areas, hot springs, and underground deposits, as well as in many minerals like pyrite, gypsum, and galena. So
Sure.
I don't know. Maybe they could get that from where they are, but I mean,
in Atlanta,
volcanic areas, hot springs. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. Like, it does comment on it being like in other minerals. So maybe as long as you can find those minerals, you can make that.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah.
So they probably make their own blasting powder.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. If I were in the silo, I wouldn't know where to begin. That's really what I'm saying. I'm not smart enough to be one of the contributing members of this silo.
I mean, but information's passed down, right? Like, so if you were there, they'd teach you. You'd know. Like, it would be something you'd figure out. Yeah.
Yeah. But she does find she finds 3 of the transmitters and only grabs 2 for some reason, which I thought was weird. But she finds a few relays, grabs those, and she also grabs 2 sticks of dynamite. And she's very lucky those did not have a problem when she got thrown on her face in a few paragraphs.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think that takes a lot more to explode, doesn't it? Isn't it fairly stable? As
I hear, as long as they're not bleeding or sweating, whatever they call them. So they over time they develop it's like the acid you get on the outside of a battery that's been in an electronic for too long. Mm-hmm. If it's doing that can ignite, I think. So old dynamite is dangerous. New dynamite, maybe not so much. I don't know, but I've seen a lot of movies and shows where that's a thing. Like, if it's wet, don't touch it. Mm-hmm. But she grabs those and she is heading up to get those back, and she feels like she's probably pushed it a little too far, and it sounds like she probably did. But she gets just beyond the stairwell, and the explosion goes off and throws her on her face, messes up her face, it sounds like. And this chapter closes with the people on the other side. So they definitely caught some people in this explosion, which is confirmed later. Mm. It was a very successful move on Jenkins' part. So yeah, it's bloody. It's bad. Mm-hmm. All right. So I just asked AI if they could make black powder from what they can get from the mines. And let me see. The verdict is it's theoretically possible, but it depends on whether the iron ore deposits happen to be near sulfur deposits, geological luck, whether they have the knowledge to extract refine. Well, of course, they'd have the knowledge, and whether they could produce saltpeter from biological waste. I didn't read the whole thing, but that was the end of it. So apparently, yes, they probably could. All right. I wonder if you did that research or if he just like kind of assumed they'd be able to. Yeah, I'd be curious. I do wonder how much research he's done for this book as a whole, because a lot of it does feel like it's very heavily researched. There's a lot of soft science in here that feels very plausible. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And honestly, I'm okay with soft science. Like I kind of enjoy when you just can let that go and not worry about it. And I know we've talked about Andy Weir's stuff, and that's very much hard science fiction. And I like that as well, but I'm okay with like softer science fiction and just like, yeah, sure. Same. Sometimes I prefer it. I'd rather let the story be told than have a technical detail stop it. So. Oh, hey, I just asked, they're in the Atlanta area. Would they have the right deposits? And it said the answer is yes. They would have excellent access to sulfur. Oh, no shit. Okay. Well, there you go. I mean, that's just good to know. It's AI. It could be hallucinating. Let's take it with a grain of salt. Sure. But it did some searches. So it's like, according to the Silo series, yes, you have. Right. It's referencing the book we're talking about to answer the question. Now it's got some sources on here, like from like Georgia.gov, minedata.org, earth@home.org. So this is probably accurate information. All right. But anyway, interesting. Sorry, I got too hyper-focused on getting that answer. No, dude, there's absolutely no reason to be sorry. It was a question that I asked, by all means. I honestly missed everything you said after we talked about that because I was looking this up. But anyway. That's quite all right. About the dynamite, though, one thing I highlighted that I really enjoyed was that she grabbed the 2 sticks of dynamite just because they were there. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you see dynamite and you're in a war, you grab it. Yeah. Seems prudent. Mm-hmm. But yeah. So she fell. She hurt her lip, and they blew shit up, and people died, and that's obviously gonna come in later. But then we get back to Juliette in the cold, dark waters, bumping blindly against the ceiling. Yes, chapter 69. Oh, it's terrifying.
Yeah, it's actually chapter 17 for me, which is also the header, Silo 17. So 1717 on mine.
Oh, that's fun.
Anyway.
So she's swimming and she's blind and she crashes into the stairwell and bumps her nose. And it's a good thing she took the screen out.
Mm-hmm.
It was enough to daze her and she let go of the hose in her hand. And I believe this might be where she pulled the...
Yeah.
She grabbed it, was about to pull herself along. She realizes it's a smaller power line. Okay, so she didn't actually pull it there. But she is completely disoriented. She kicks off what she assumes is the ceiling, swams in the direction she hopes is down. I mean, she's flying by the seat of her pants here and has no air. It's terrifying. I hate the Juliette chapters right now. I hate them.
And like when it's described about how like she is breathing, but there's no oxygen, she still feels like she can't get a breath. I mean, I've heard that that's what it's like when you're inhaling just carbon dioxide and how it feels like you can't get a breath, yet you've got things going in and out of your lungs. And I feel like that would be probably even scarier than drowning. I mean, drowning sounds fucking terrifying to me. Like, I feel like that's one of the worst ways you could possibly die. And this sounds like you have air, but you still can't breathe. Sounds even scarier.
Yeah, suffocating is, well, that's a bad way to go. But yeah, it no longer offers air, but it did lead the way out. That's all the tube is good for now. But she's basically bumping and floating up 6 flights. Now this confused me a little bit because it says, let me start from the beginning here. The hose led up and around the corner. She found herself pulling, reaching out an arm to fend off blind assaults from walls, ceilings, steps, bumping and floating up 6 flights. A battle for every inch. A struggle seemed to take forever. So 6 flights. I guess that would only be a handful of floors, huh?
Yeah, because we learned that the stairs definitely curved around multiple times for each floor.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so that's rereading that now. I see what it was being said. When I first read it, it's like, wait, it sounds like she got to the top, and then a paragraph later, she's down with 10 to go.
Yeah, that I was actually in the same boat as you when I was reading it, and I hadn't realized it until you just said the flights thing. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. Because I had that same sort of disconnectedness. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, okay. Good. Glad it wasn't just me. So she is working her way up and she's looking at the open doors and thinking, yeah, there are probably air bubbles in there, which it's a good thought. But yeah, to find them, you might not make it in time.
Mm-hmm.
And her muscles are screaming at her because they're not usually used this way.
Mm-hmm. Well, also, they're not getting any oxygen.
Well, oh yeah, that too. I didn't even think about that. But yeah, but she finally sees the green tint of the emergency lights. So those terrifying, disturbing things that we were talking about earlier may have saved her life with her giving her a direction to swim.
Mm-hmm.
And it talks about her having traveled these corridors a few thousand times, a couple times in pitch black, and her being the one to kind of fix it, the one that kind of took control, which is great and all. It's good history to have for this situation, but also swimming doesn't help at all. She's like, regardless if you've been in this environment whilst pitch black, the gravity situation, which is basically what it becomes, because if you can't tell your orientation, it's mostly due to gravity, and, and the water kind of negates it. So as useful as that might be as a boon to have been,
plus she's still a little bit buoyant
and not thinking straight, losing oxygen, like woof, like that. Yeah, that I can't even begin to imagine how someone would survive that. Dizziness is setting in as she reaches the security gate, and before she gets to the stairwell, she has her first spasm, like a hiccup, a violent and automatic gasp for air. That is terrifying. Like,
yeah, this is what I was talking about.
I can't.
I don't even want to imagine it.
No, same, absolute same. So she's drowning or suffocating rather. She said that the temptation to shed her helmet and take a deep inhalation of water overpowered her. Something in her mind insisted that she could breathe this stuff. Just give it a chance, it said. One lungful of water. Like, whoa, how sinister of a subconscious that is.
Right? Again, that's why I'm like, suffocating sounds like the worst fucking way to go.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. Anyway, she gets to the rope at the stairs and she pulls on it and it starts falling toward her. So there's no way to climb
that. Yeah.
So she again resorts to her air tube, and this is where she goes to take her helmet off. She grabs her knife and she starts messing with the metal collar, and the deja vu is overpowering, as I imagine it would be. Same tool, same issue. God damn, she's having a rough month.
Indeed.
But she's rising gently up the stairwell, her body shivering from the cold and convulsing from the absence of breathable air. She gets the helmet off. So was she rising
gently? Okay, she was rising gently before she got the helmet off. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, so once she gets the helmet off, the water floods over her face, filling her suit and sending her back down.
Mm-hmm.
So once her suit fills with water, as you want to imagine, it becomes a hell of a lot heavier, probably doubles her weight, if not more.
Mm-hmm.
And in getting the helmet off, as we discussed, her radio goes with it, of course.
Which I had not realized until you said it.
As the dome of the helmet spinning through the murk like a bubble heading in the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm.
So, bye.
Now, you say she's probably double her weight. I don't think so much double your weight, because you think when you're in water, doesn't really how much is around you. You're buoyant, right? You can move around. It's not necessarily heavier. I guess it is heavier, but it's just she's in water and she has this suit that's probably makes it hard to move.
I guess more drag is the proper way to say
drag.
that.
Yeah,
There's more drag.
That makes more sense.
And if she were out of water, it might be twice her weight.
Be heavier. It'd be way more than twice her weight. Which actually I had an issue with later when she's trying to get out and she's full of water. I'm like, no fucking way. It's too heavy. She couldn't pull herself out.
Although she did have stairs there.
Okay.
Maybe that it is sunken, so she could potentially have walked up the stairs. It didn't say that, but we'll give it a little bit of wiggle room here.
Sure.
Let's go ahead and suspend that.
It's one of those things where I've said this before. It's a 5-star book to me. So when we break down things like that, it's just I just give it to them. I'll just accept it. I don't agree that would have happened that way. Whatever, but it doesn't diminish my enjoyment of the book at all.
Yeah, totally. Same boat. But this is where she notices I like the way that it said, on the undersides of the step, a shimmering flash of hope. So she sees that there are air pockets underneath the welded stairs.
Yeah.
And I like how she's praising the construction of the stairs and how hundreds of years of footfalls have not diminished the welds and everything. And it leads me to think that there's got to be someone that maintains these things. Has to be.
Maybe.
Again, I know we've talked about that, but there's got to be a chore. Somebody has to be the stair person.
But it also changes the way I imagine these stairs, because I was imagining them with those diamonds of holes,
see-through.
The
100%
punctured holes in it, and now it's it's a solid block of metal. Okay, I would not have pictured it that way, but I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, same. I was in the exact same boat. I actually wrote that down. This is not how I picture these, but I'm down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll accept it.
Yeah, so she gets up there, she tastes rust, she sucks in a bunch of water, finally manages to figure out how to take just a sip of air. And this is where she's praising the construction of the stairs from hundreds of years ago. She's working her way up. It says by 5 to 6 steps per.
Really quick. So her breathing the air from the underside of the steps, this is the part that I was pulled out when I was reading it originally, because I was the exhaust from her suit would have been her exhale, so it wouldn't be oxygen. And I was having such a hard time with it, which is why I brought it up earlier. Because I'm it's not going to be oxygen. It's going to be her breath. But no, I guess it would be oxygen. It would make sense.
Yeah. I'm totally on board with this working. But the 6 flights, so we're looking at 10 to 15. So she's got to do this, 12 to 18 times, somewhere between there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Before she gets to the top.
She got to do a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah, it's not going to be a pleasant upward movement. And she kind of makes a game of it.
Her lips brushed each one, tasting metal and rust, kissing her salvation.
Yeah. It's so well written. And then she gets to the point where she gets a foul burn on her lips, the taste of water growing toxic. And I'm thinking, didn't Solo just take a big old gulp of this stuff?
Right.
You can actually taste the difference and
and Solo's just yep, I'm going to drink this. Dude.
And I was thinking, well, shit, maybe that's what happened to Solo. He just died of poisoning.
He went back for more.
Right? I've just been here with a straw in the water. Oh, man. But so she survives. She is at the top. I mean, so far she survives, but man, she is dealing with some hypothermia.
Mm-hmm.
We'll dive more into that. But yeah, she gets up. She finds Solo. He's lying on his side, eyes shut, blood running down.
Well,
some of
right
it
before she
dry.
says Solo, like, this is where I was talking about, like, she made it, clinging to the dry treads above her, neck bent, gasping and wheezing, her legs numb. She tried to cry out that she made it, but it escaped as a whimper. She was cold. She was freezing. Her arms shivered as she pulled herself up the quiet steps. She is too fucking heavy. No.
Okay, but she's on the steps. Pulled herself up the quiet steps. So she's crawling on stairs. No matter. I know, but she's crawling on stairs. You can make 10 inches at a time crawling, regardless of how much weight you've got in your suit, especially if you're not fucking up your knees because of the suit. Because that's what I think about crawling upstairs.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I buy it. She's on the stairs.
At an angle. If like she just like fucking stood up, I'd be like, hell no. I wouldn't buy it. But I guess I can pull the like crawling yourself up that incline. She's like dragging the weight of that water with her. Okay. Yeah. I'll accept it. I'm not sure I still buy it, but I'll accept it and move on.
Get away this time, Howie.
Like I said, it doesn't really take away from my enjoyment, even if I don't agree that could have happened.
Yeah, fair enough. She shakes him, trying to wake him up. One of his eyes parted a little bit. She keeps calling his name. I need help. And his response is, that's not my name.
Yeah.
So
he's Jimmy.
Turns out Solo's name is Jimmy. Yeah. Which is very fitting for him.
Mm-hmm. Hugh did another one of the words all compressed together here with the, hey, wake the fuck up. All is one word. Love it.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. And the last thing in this chapter is him saying, I don't think I ever was alone. It's like, oh, I knew it. Yeah. I knew there was no way he was alone. I knew it.
I mean, I obviously knew this going into the reading, but
sure,
every time they hinted at it, I kept like, so again, we have to kind of go to that, like, what do I know and what am I understanding from reading it? And like, I kept like, while I knew that he wasn't alone, I was reading all of the hints, as he says specifically in the next chapter when that we come back to them. About like all the lights being on, the things being moved. I wasn't crazy.
Well, yeah, even Jules was experiencing that over the past month.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, either Solo's fucking with me or I'm absolutely going crazy.
Yeah. And I feel like Hugh he foreshadowed it strongly to the point that while reading it this time, it was obvious to me that he was setting that up, setting up the possibility. Now, I don't know if it was obvious to me because I knew and I could see I can things.
Assure you it felt pretty obvious to me as well.
Okay. All right.
It was dropped too many times, hinted at too many times to not be something that was going to come back in some fashion.
That was a possibility as well when you were reading it?
100%. Yeah, 100%. I didn't think that this was...
And not just because I hinted at it last time when we were...
No, I didn't think there was any possibility that this was not going to be the case.
All right.
It seemed way too heavy-handed not to come about at some point.
I mean, but I also like that he set it up. It wasn't just like came out of nowhere.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, all of a sudden there are people like, hello, surprise.
Yeah.
Which it is still, but yeah, I'm glad he did as well.
Big enough for multiple thousands of people, so it's easy, I'm sure,
plenty of places
to disappear into the silo and not ever be detected. Like 50 years is a long time to not be detected, but also I think it's big enough that you'd probably get used to knowing like we were talking about before, like where you stay where you live, you are in the areas that you're in, and you don't really cross over necessarily with people who kind of stay to their areas. Granted, obviously there was crossover because they'd leave lights on and grab tools and stuff, but like probably enough of a distance there that it's infrequent enough that they just never ran into each other, or they were just really good at hiding. I don't know. I guess we'll find out more when we get to those and chapters.
There are at least two of them, and I'm guessing a male and a female at minimum. That is my current prediction, and I'll explain why when we get there, if it's not obvious. But moving into chapter 70. This is a Lucas chapter. We're back in Silo 18. This is where we get Bernard's, I guess, true colors, which is normally said in a negative capacity, but we're actually seeing some backbone, I think is a good way to say it. So Lucas is really having a hard time accepting that he knew about this and that this was done on purpose and all that jazz. And, completely agree with him. And so does Bernard. I mean, I am on the same page as Bernard for the first time in this book. It took 480 pages, but it happened.
Yeah. I want to point out really quick before we get too far into this, when he's asking Bernard about like when he figured it out or whatever, Bernard's like, I pieced it together much as you did, just knowing what we have to know to do this job. This is why I chose you, Lucas. You and a few others have some idea what's stored on these servers. I mean, I don't think that second line that I said is necessarily as important, but I think that like he pieced it together and that's why he chose Lucas. And I think that
it
right
is that
there
curiosity.
Is that curiosity.
It's just not straight up said.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not as explicitly stated, but it's absolutely written in here of like, that's why he picked him.
Yep. I completely agree. So in the previous chapter with these two, he mentioned that there were 47 silos remaining. We know 17 is down. And now we know 10 is down. So we don't know what that third one is. Do we?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It may have been briefly mentioned when they were looking at the red X's at one point, but I don't think so. I don't think it was explicitly mentioned.
Interesting. So that was reading later. I was wondering if this was Jimmy's dad, that he listened to the colleague shadow broadcast his insanity to anyone who would listen. But then I realized it was the wrong silo. But that would have been kind of a fun little tie-in too. But I also, before we go too much further into this chapter, he's talking about, can you imagine if you told the silo as a whole what the reaction would be? And he specifically calls out the people that wear red or green. We know black, we know yellow, and we know blue. Do we know red and green? I'm assuming it's medical and like dirt farm.
That's what I was guessing too. Like probably somebody who grows things, right? Green's probably a growing vegetables, farming, whatever. And red, I can imagine medical.
Or clergy. We know they wore red robes.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they wore red robes at Martin's funeral.
Oh, maybe they're talking about clergy then.
I don't remember if we got imagine a color of busting medical. Their bubble with them.
Right?
Yeah, I don't know that we did either. But yeah, interesting. Could be a fun mind exercise to watch that unfold.
Yeah, now I'm trying to understand like who he's talking about. Like he obviously thinks less of these people, like the way he says it. Like they are like not
can you imagine?
Yeah. Can you imagine? But yeah, I really want to know what red and green are now, because
green seems pretty obvious.
Probably, but why is he saying kind of it that way about them? The clergy makes sense. Like, these people who believe in these, like, mystical things.
Silos being created, yeah.
Yeah, like that he knows obviously is bullshit. Like, he's going to look down on them a little bit. But well, why would he look at the farmers the same way? I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't really matter.
I mean, this is the guy that was kicking back because they needed to fix the generator. Like and that's one of my biggest problems with Bernard is that he knows what's going on, yet he still fights against it when it's an interest of the silo. Like, why would you have an issue with the generator being fixed?
That's a really good point, because the generator being fixed is something that benefits his silo, and like I can't really see why that's a bad thing, knowing everything we know now. That's a really interesting take. Back when we read it, it's obviously just like Bernard being greedy about his power, but now we know he doesn't actually get his power from it.
Yeah.
Like if he did truly risk losing stuff on the server because they shut down power, then I can see why that would be a problem for him. I just had an idea. Maybe it's because, as we said earlier, it's like a RAID array where like every silo is giving power to power all of the servers, like distributed power in that sense. So maybe it's like he knows his bosses are going to give him a hard time for not having full power.
Oh, because people aren't getting the power that they're requesting, not him. Okay. Like, that's an interesting way to look at it.
Not just his servers, because if it affects all the servers, that like if you don't get enough power to do all the servers, that could potentially like fuck this entire thing up for everybody.
Yeah, really throw a wrench in the works. Okay, you know what? I could see that being a reason to be the way that he
like
is.
The bosses, right? The boss is putting that pressure on him.
Yeah.
But also, like, 3 silos have gone down and things are still running. So, like, why not endorse fixing the thing that's going to keep your silo going so you don't have that long term? I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a disconnect here. I'm not sure I follow the logic, especially knowing what we know now.
But that being said, you've mentioned a number of times that these were potentially released as novellas.
Oh, yeah. So that could definitely have something to do with it.
That could be a bit of a disconnect there.
Like he didn't know he was going to go there. So he wrote it that way.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Could be.
Probably. That's the real world explanation, but I'm wondering what the in-universe explanation is.
Until you respond.
Yeah. I'd love to do an interview with Hugh Howey after all this and talk about all these things, understand.
Man, I would love it. If this show does well, the doors that would open for that kind of thing, my cool. guest and I go interview Hugh Howey or whatever the case may be, that would be just, that'd be amazing.
Be really cool.
But Flights of Fancy.
Mm-hmm.
So we learned that Bernard came about this information the same way as you were saying. And he also spent just over 2 months down there until he was accepted. So Lucas is having his time, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
He does call Bernard so much wiser than he is in this last paragraph, and he imagines this being the sort of conversation a man and his father would have. Let me read that out. He imagined that this was a sort of conversation a man had with his father, only not about the planned and carried out destruction of the entire world.
Yeah.
It starts so mundane. Oh man. So he's sipping his tea, and I wanted to point out the mint comment. He's talking about the mint being a direct line through the trembling stress, a strike to the calm pleasure center in the deep regions of his brain. And I'll tell you, mint does the same thing for me. If I'm stressed out, I need some mint tea or something that has that spearmint or mint or winter, something with that sharpness to it. It cuts straight through everything. It's so good.
I hadn't associated it with mint specifically, just like the tea in general is a calming thing, but like chamomile and stuff like that. Just like relaxing, like tea helps with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So he then asks how they did it.
To kill so many.
Yeah. This paragraph.
Like asking the hard questions here.
Yeah. Yeah. So Bernard answers, they might still be doing it for all I know. Nobody talks about how long it's supposed to go on. There's fear that small pockets of survivors might be holed up elsewhere around the globe. Operation 50 is completely pointless if anyone else survives. The population has to be homogenous.
I
had to look up
that.
Yeah,
okay.
I had to look up homogenous to make sure that I knew what it meant. Dude, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, this is fucked. Like my response here, what I wrote in the margin was, hold the fuck up. And that is the worst answer he could have given.
Yeah. So
this is basically ethnic cleansing.
Well, I was wondering about that because we don't know what ethnicity the people in this world are. I don't think we ever get like a description of skin color and whatever.
Fair.
And there is definitely, at least for the show, a mix of races. And when I read this, I was wondering, like, do they mean that homogenous as in all the same races as a racism sort of thing? Or is this all the same
belief?
Like, belief structure, culture, like all of us good old Americans sort of thing.
See, and that was a question I had as well, but that's something that when you put a bunch of things in a box that can change, like skin color is not something that's going to change. You put a bunch of one color people in a box, at the end of 1,000 years, you're going to open that box and it's going to be the same color, right? You put a bunch of people with the same beliefs in a box, you open that box, you're going to have a wide variety of beliefs.
Right.
That's not something that you can control over time. So I can't see homogeneous meaning anything else in this context.
Well, I just looked it up as well. I mean, I knew what it meant, but like for the sake of this conversation, I wanted to see what the internet said about it, like, definition wise. And the dictionary definition, as per the Oxford Languages, says consisting of parts all of the same kind. And then the example right below is, culturally speaking, the farmers constitute an extremely homogeneous group. So in that example, it's not about skin color. It's about culture.
No, trade.
All the same culture. Yeah, the trade, the culture, like we all think alike, we all act alike. And so I do wonder if the idea of the population has to be homogenous is that they wanted people who had the same beliefs and views. But as you just very wisely pointed out, that can change, especially over hundreds of years where you don't have a deep control of it. Then again, that's kind of how the silos are designed, is to help control things, like the whole getting rid of books.
Again, we don't know what the education system looks like.
So, I mean, they could be very much kind of like...
It could be.
Treating, like, not treating, they could be... What's the word for, like, making something happen? Whatever.
Forcing?
Forcing, guiding, like, you know what I'm trying to get at, like manipulating the culture to stay in a certain way, in a certain viewpoint. But then again, hundreds of years later, I mean, Bernard himself doesn't know all the answers. Like he says, he doesn't know if they still might be doing it for all he knows. So and then they don't talk about how long it's supposed to last. So, but even then, like if they don't talk about how long it's supposed to last over hundreds of years, that's going to be information that's forgotten. Like maybe they're all here, then nobody knows when they're supposed to be getting out.
My assumption would be that Silo 1 has that information. Silo 1 is the one that is in contact with the teams that are hunting out these pockets.
Well, Silo 1 originally knew that, but has that information been decimated? Is that the right word? Has that information been passed?
That's a good question.
I have no idea. Has that information been passed down along the generations in the way that it should be? I mean, things get lost, even if you think you're passing information down. Things get twisted, playing the game of what telephone is I said operator the other day, we talked about it, but like playing the game of telephone and like, I don't know, playing the game of operator, it's a very telephone, same sort of thing. The operators who you call on the telephone and patches you through the next person. Anyway, whatever.
That's just funny.
Anyway, but yeah, so like that information could get lost or forgotten throughout the years, especially over hundreds of years. Because like, even though we think of one as like this controlling silo, the people living in one are just like the people living in Silo 18, that they themselves were not there for the beginning. Well,
that's
in that sense, like, so like they weren't there. They didn't make this happen. They weren't the ones that made the decision. So it's going to take some intense brainwashing and manipulation to make sure they still feel the same way as their predecessors did. I mean, we know that within just Silo 18, there are people who question things and wonder if this is really the right way to go. Lucas himself, knowing everything, is questioning if this is the right way to go. So there's got to be people in Silo 1 that would probably do that too. Granted,
you're absolutely
maybe
right.
They were just a lot stricter about, you voice that opinion, you're going to clean. And they just get rid of all those people.
Or the people in Silo 1 are all attuned. There's a possibility that they're run differently.
Yeah,
that could be just the commander silo, and everybody in there is in the know and cooperates, and so there's no chance of some of this happening in the one that's controlling everything. That would actually probably be the smartest way to do that.
Yeah. So here's probably a good spot to mention. I think I told you privately, I don't remember if I mentioned it on the podcast, I recently learned that Hugh Howey is writing more books for this series. And without knowing how this ends, it doesn't really matter, because now I can reveal he's doing like the stories of other silos.
Different silos.
I'm so fascinating, because like,
hell yeah,
like to know maybe what happened to Silo 10, or maybe getting the full story of 17, or knowing more about
from
Silo
Jimmy's perspective
1.
as a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude,
like
I would love that. Yeah,
I'm excited. I don't know. I don't know exactly what they are going to be. All I know is that they're going to be about the other silos, like, because there's more stories to tell.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you've got 50 different containers with hundreds of years of social evolution.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's going to be a significant difference in every single silo.
I'm excited.
So
I'm
that would
so
be fascinating.
Excited. And you
That's
know,
cool.
We're going to get to read those both brand new together. I mean, maybe not actually together like we're doing this, but like, you know, personally, you and I get to both read it and not know what's coming and get to talk about it,
that's
whether
exciting.
it's on a podcast or not.
Maybe we
get
will
to talk
do
about it like
this.
I mean, the whole point of this was like people's favorite books and reliving it, and that's kind of going outside of it. But
but I do feel like
right?
The way that this goes, because of the conversations that it's going to create and the way that it could potentially spin off into other projects, I wouldn't say no. That's all.
Yeah. Absolutely a possibility. I'm loving doing this.
I'm enjoying the hell out of this, and I'm diving into a world that I've never known before, and I'm sold.
Yeah.
I mean, very sold. So anything that comes after it, I'm going to want to read, and what better way to consume it than the way I did my first book?
Yeah, it's great. I love it. We'll see how it goes.
Who knows? Yeah. But moving back into the book, this is where we find out that there are 47 remaining. It's only been a few hundred years, so few can be 3 to 7 without being several.
I like how you say it's only been a few hundred years, whereas like I look at the book as you're saying that, and Lucas is like a few hundred, like he has the exact opposite reaction to the idea of hundreds. Yeah,
exactly. That's exactly what Bernard says, is it's only been a few hundred years, and that's the appropriate reaction, Lucas, because that is wild. But Bernard says it's because it's the worst parts of our legacy.
I think that's obviously a really important thing. But I highlighted this next line because I really wanted to comment on it specifically. When Lucas is saying we decided, he corrects him.
Oh, yeah.
They.
Good call.
They decided, don't include yourself. Certainly don't include me. And that was my first moment of like, I wonder how Remy's going to take that. Like Bernard really trying to distance himself from the people destroying the world, because he doesn't see himself the same way, and he doesn't want to be lumped in with them. And like that gives him this like moral standing that goes against everything that we have learned about him so far. Like I feel like based on everything we've learned so far, he would be the type of person that would be like, yeah, you know, America, we destroyed the world for our own survival. But here he's like, no, fuck that.
Yeah. So this spills into the whole, you know, I'd kill him with my bare hands if we put him in the same room. And it's wild to see Bernard like this. I mean, it feels very out of character, but at the same time, we just haven't seen this genuine
had a chance to learn this. Yeah.
This is the first time he's been truly genuine and unguarded, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Because like up to here, it's like all been about how he's going to manipulate people. And now we finally get a chance to see why. Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm just going to read this quote. We weren't any part of what those crazy fucks did. If I had those guys, the men who did this, if I had them in a room with me, I'd kill every last goddamn one of them. I'd kill them with my bare hands. It's like,
oh, so good.
That changes the view on Bernard pretty significantly. I mean, he's still an asshole. He's still an absolute piece of shit.
People.
Exactly. And, you know, for the greater good has never been a good excuse.
I agree.
You know, every time someone says it's for the greater good, it's pretty much not.
The greater good.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm thinking of, like media of some sort that I'm sure we're both familiar with. Every time somebody says for the greater good, like a bunch of other characters for the greater good.
You're thinking of Hot Fuzz.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah.
You're thinking of Hot Fuzz. Yeah. 100% for the greater good. Yeah. They can't, like, so it's like good. A compulsion. They can't help but say it for the greater good.
Yeah.
But then he elaborates a little bit more, and he says, they didn't give us a chance. That's not what this is. He gestured at the room around him. These are prisons, cages, not homes. They're not meant to protect us, but meant to force us by pain of death to bring about their vision.
Their vision. Yeah. Their, and like he puts the emphasis on the there. That sounded weird. But that emphasis on the their vision, I think, is like incredibly important to understanding Bernard and where he comes from and why he does the things he does.
Yeah. And part of the next paragraph.
I was just going to say, in this next paragraph, go ahead.
By all means, Go for it.
No, I can't. I haven't found it yet. So go ahead.
Oh, okay. There's a little bit of preloading of this, but the core of it is the people who did this. They were in charge of a powerful country that was beginning to crumble. They could see the end, their end, and it scared them suicidal. Mm-hmm. As time began to run out over decades, keep in mind, they figured they had one chance to preserve themselves, to preserve what they saw as their way of life. So before they lost the only opportunity they might ever have, they put a plan into motion. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's
fucking crazy.
It's disgusting.
I just flipped pages and I saw the quote that I highlighted that I thought was going to be in that paragraph that I wanted to comment on. But yeah, it's crazy. Like the idea that, we took decades to do that, or they, I guess, as Bernard says, to point out that we're not them.
Yeah. Don't lump us in.
Like, I don't know, maybe we are, because we're in the times that would have been doing that supposedly. But anyway,
I'm sorry, but we are not. I still would not be lumped in with these bastards.
Exactly. And that's kind of the point that I wanted to get to. So a little bit later in this, they have continued conversation, but and Lucas is talking about how, like, they killed their own men. Like, so they're talking about the people who built these silos were fucking murdered to keep them quiet. And, their own men.
He compares them to the pharaohs of Egypt killing the people that built their tombs.
Yeah. Wait, is that actually in here? Because I didn't pick up on that.
It was a long ago land with their great kings, like mayors, but with many more people to rule. When these men died, elaborate chambers. So it doesn't strictly call them out.
No, you're right. That is absolutely like a reference to that, whatever that would be called. But I hadn't picked up on that. But it's not beyond us to kill to keep secrets. It'll be part of your job one day when you take over. And like the fact that Lucas's response is to have a sharp pain in his gut and to really feel like that's not what we do. It tells me like everything we didn't know. Like I understand Bernard's viewpoint here. I understand why he feels this way, but I side more with Lucas and like
100%.
Okay, yeah. Evil men did this, but like, why? But
we have an opportunity to make it right.
Of it? Yeah, and so this next section, this is it kind of continues that thought. Bernard saying, evil men did this, but they're gone. Forget them. Just know this: they locked up their brood as a fucked up form of their own survival. They put us in this game, a game where breaking the rules means we all die, every single one of us. But living by those rules, obeying them, means we all suffer. And that tells us like Bernard knows that what he's doing is not okay, that he's causing people to suffer, but he believes that it's the only choice he has. He feels that like they made the rules, but unfortunately I have to follow them, and following them means we all suffer. So this is where I highlighted, what do you think of this? Because I wanted to ask you specifically, like, how does this change your view of Bernard, knowing that that's how he sees this? I mean, we've already kind of talked about it, but like, is there any other tangible things you have to say?
Not really. We've touched on how it is. While I do agree with what you're saying, like it makes sense what he's saying, it's still not the right way, and he recognizes that. Mm-hmm. So to me, that puts him right back in the same camp he was in before. Mm-hmm. You understand that there's a better way out of this, yet you choose not to take that path. Ergo, you are as horrible as I thought you were.
Yeah. And of course, Lucas comments on that, like at the very end, like his thought of this chapter, who the fuck were these people? Could he see himself being one of them? How did Bernard not see that he was one of them?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, goosebumps just thinking about that.
And the paragraph right above that, that is a powerful line. But right above that, it says, whether they too could rationalize their actions having been foisted upon them, imagine themselves as not being culpable, just going along with something they'd inherited. A crooked game with rat shit rules, almost everyone kept ignorant and locked up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that feeds into the whole conversation we've been having about this of like it's been hundreds of years. Why can't there be a different answer? Like these people,
there's a better way.
Yeah. Like there's got to be a better way. And honestly, it's the truth. The truth is got to be the better way. Like telling people what's really happening. Because like when you don't tell them what's really happening, they uprise trying to find out what's happening and then kill the entire silo. So like,
yep.
Why not
How is this better?
Tell people and let them work together? Yeah. Like, okay, it's bad out there, but like, I don't know.
What they should do is Silo 1 should, since seems pretty experimental to begin with, Silo 1 should just say, you know what, in Silo number 13, we're going to see what happens.
Yeah.
We're gonna let the cat out of the bag and see what happens.
Mm-hmm. I could see that.
That would be really, and maybe that's what he was going to explore. That would be a really fucking cool story.
Be interesting. That'd be really interesting.
Yeah, I'd be very interested to read that.
Although, I mean, I think we might. I feel like that's kind of where we're going with this, though. You know, like Juliette wants to tell, like once she shows up, she's going to be letting the cat out of the bag, and we'll get to see what happens when that cat is let out of the bag.
More controlled experiment would be an interesting thing to watch as well.
Yeah. Like I could see the people in Silo 1 like going, hey, this isn't the right thing that we should be doing. Like, why don't we try to see what would happen? See if we can make this better. Like, why does it have to be suffering and death and murdering and manipulation and lies?
Yeah, there's got to be a way. Yeah, we've said it 100 times. There's got to be a better way to do this. Like, it has to be.
Yeah. And I guess that's what we're going to find out.
Rolling on to chapter 71, back in Silo 18, we are back with Shirley, and she comes back in, and there are workers on top of the generator messing with the exhaust, which is interesting. And we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah. Seems like a bad idea.
Yeah, right. She walks into the control room, and Courtney's face is just flabbergasted. She obviously missed something.
Just heard.
One of the first things Courtney says is, "How is this possible?" Courtney asked. "How did she survive? And what happened to your face?" Blunt. I love it. Oh man. But Walk responds with, if this works, we can ask Jules herself. He says Jules.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And they do call him Walk, even though like it says Walker in the non-dialogue text. I noticed that after I had that little, comment on it. And like, as we kept going, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess they do say Walk multiple times.
Nah, that's right. So she asks what's going on with the exhaust feed, and they plan to reroute it to IT. And I really appreciate Jules's reaction, or excuse me, Shirley's reaction here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She's like, so we choked them out with fumes. She felt uneasy about the plan, wondered what Knox would say if he were still alive. Surely all the men and women writing desks up there weren't the problem.
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree. That's a terrible idea.
I think that's a plan that I think could easily backfire.
Yeah. So I'm not sure where that's going to go, but I'm a little concerned. But this is where Courtney asks if she's okay, if she's holding up all right.
Mm-hmm.
And Shirley gives that whole spiel that I mentioned earlier. I'm walking around in shock. I have no idea what the hell's going on. Yada, yada, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, and yeah, I miss Mark.
Mm-hmm.
So she's having a rough time. The way she's handling it is truly impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that real people exist with this type of fortification. I hope they do. But if not, she's a believably written.
Honestly, I think that we all have more strength in us than we think we do. I think that when we're faced with hard things, we tend to push through and come out stronger, even though it's hard, even though we don't feel like that's going to be the case. I think it's something to remember, especially when we're down, when things are hard.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Yeah, there's a sign I have hanging up in my kitchen that says, "You're stronger than you think you are." And I read it every morning when I go in there and just have to remind myself, yeah, I am. I can get through this, whatever it is that this is at the moment.
Love it. This is the part where I was talking about earlier, where she's glad that he's not having to go through all this. It's sad that he's dead, but there's also this very grim silver lining that absolutely makes sense. But all that is interrupted by Walk saying, "Hello, testing. Hello, hello."
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "Juliette, can you hear me? Hello?" And there's a response that says, "Hello." And everyone's all excited for about a second and then realize that it's not Juliette.
Mm-hmm.
Courtney voices it. And then I'm just going to read this whole last page. Basically, it's a quarter of a page. But anyway, "Hello, my name is Walker. We received a transmission from a friend. Is there anyone else there? Courtney says, ask them where they are. Where exactly are you? Walker added before releasing the switch. The tiny speaker popped. We are nowhere. You'll never find us. Stay away. There was a pause and a hiss of static. And your friend is dead. We killed him. So we, for starters. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's a lot there. So we killed him. So obviously Solo. They assumed that it was a Juliette at first. That assumption would not have been made if it was a male voice, right? This is the fuzziest part of my theory, to be fair.
So no. I feel like it was saying. a female voice. I get your thought process. It was like a fraction of a second later, surge of desperate hope that they realized this wasn't Juliette because the voice was different. Yeah, that does suggest that it was probably a female voice,
right? That's kind of what I was leaning toward. Okay,
yeah, because like you're not gonna even have like the half a second of hope if it's clearly a male.
If
voice.
It's a male, yeah. Yeah, if someone says hello, it's like that's not at all right.
Yeah.
So I would assume that it was a female voice, and we find out in the next chapter, which we're jumping into right now, chapter 72. For the first half of this chapter, I was very convinced that Solo was dead. Jimmy was dead until he finally stirs. But when he does, he confirms that the person that hit him was a man about his age. So we have at least two. They said and one male, one female. That's the best I got at this point.
That's probably true. I think that based on the evidence, that feels right.
Okay. I'm good with that. But really diving into chapter 72, the water inside the suit was freezing, the air cold. She is currently cutting it off with her trusty knife, her suit. And it's apparently double layered. So I'm thinking the wetsuit theory was probably correct. And once again, I do apologize. I have a puppy who is losing her mind outside of my room. So sorry about the background noises, folks. Their supply bag is gone. The hose is kinked beneath the compressor, which is on its side. The fuel is leaking. I mean, sabotage, straight up. And the reason you think that Jimmy is dead, it's going to be hard to make that switch.
Right.
Is because
he'll always be Solo to me.
The first thing she says about him is the body of a good man laying beside her, a man who had survived everything this nasty world could throw at him except for her arrival. It's like, that seems like it's confirming his death, right?
I mean, it probably seemed like it to her.
Oh, sure. Totally. And especially considering the next thing that happens is she tries to feel his pulse, but her hands are too numb and she can't feel anything. So she's very much assuming that he's dead as well.
Yeah.
She's got a powerful urge to go to sleep, but she knows if she does, she will never wake up. So her solution is to douse the compressor in fuel and light it on fire.
I don't like it. Fully understand. I'm so confused about the order of events here and like what she's doing. Like I didn't understand like why she didn't just like start the compressor up, but I guess that wouldn't necessarily give her heat. So I was very confused.
She needs fire, she needs heat, and it's already full of fuel. I mean, burn it. It's going to burn longer than anything else around. It seems, I mean, you picture where they are. They're in a stairwell. We don't know what else is on that floor. What else is going to burn? That seems like the only real solution for survival. And she also notes that she would never want to use it again anyway. She never rely on it or anything else for her air. Like, I get that.
Yeah.
It's like, not only was it an action of necessity, but there might have been some passion there too.
Yeah.
So she sparks a fire with the back of her knife and thinks she catches herself on fire for a moment. So it catches fire. She curls up next to it naked, trying to get all the heat that she possibly can. Her knife at the ready, if she's able to use it. But then she's got a new fear of boots coming down. And obviously, these people that are in the silo with her are not friendly. So that's terrifying, not to know where they live, where they hold up. And Solo was certainly right to bar the doors every night. Although when you leave, someone could easily get in there and then you're barring them in. But, you know, he was a 16-year-old trapped in a 50-year-old body. So, but she is very much suffering from hypothermia, or at least very near. She decides that she definitely needs to get up and out of the cold of the deep. she's gotten enough heat to where she feels like she can feel her hands again, and she realizes that Jimmy is alive. Yay.
Yeah.
I was very, very happy to see that.
Mm-hmm.
I was really bummed when he was assumed dead.
Yeah. I mean, that's not to say he's going to survive. He's still very badly hurt, but yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. They're pretty much both on the edge of death at the moment. Mm-hmm. She grabbed her suit, put it back on, and uses the other one to get water in his mouth and clean his wound a little bit, which is what wakes him up.
Yeah.
And then we get the confirmation that he was his age, and his assurance that he is not crazy. The things that move, the lights, it wasn't me. I'm not crazy. And her confirmation of you are not crazy at all.
Yeah.
That's a really good ending. And I hope so much that Jimmy survives. I love him as a character. He's so innocent, and I want him to stay that way. Yeah. Somebody in this world has to be innocent.
Right? With all the manipulation and evil and twisted shit that's going on.
It's terrible.
But here we go into the last chapter of our section, the Lucas chapter that I thought we were on earlier.
Yeah. So rolling into 73, and he is doing everything that he can not to study. And I feel that.
Right?
He is, I mean, if he had a spinning chair, he'd be spinning in it.
Right. My thought when I read that was ADHD, but not really, because he's in a like extreme situation that anybody would be in his position right now.
Losing their mind,
or not.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We do find out that Sim's team took a few losses in the explosion. And it was not the quote unquote great stairwell, which again, I don't think we've heard that term before.
Yeah.
So how does he come across? Oh yeah, he's looking at the X's and he's playing with them. And I really like on the next page, he's touching the X over number 17. Mm-hmm. His fingernail caught on one of the red marks and it flaked a piece away. The wax stuck under his fingernail, the paper beneath still stained blood red. There was no taking it back, no cleaning it off, no making it whole again.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really powerful way to connect those two dots.
Absolutely. You're never getting that back.
I love Hugh Howey's writing.
Same. That's why I love it so much.
Yeah. So he's very much like Jules. He's saying how he longed to call those men and tell them not to do it, to stop all the insanity, the violence, the pointless killing. He can't reach the radio to do anything. His hands are tied as someone that's about to become the most powerful person in the silo, or lined up to become the most powerful person in the silo. He is woefully ill-equipped to do anything in this situation.
Yeah, where he is right now, he doesn't really have any power despite being next in line. Because even if he were to find a way to get into that radio and tell people what's going on, like he knows that doing so will probably cause more harm than good.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny. The next page, he imagines a scenario where he pops into a conversation. It's like, hey, I'm Lucas from 18.
Yeah. Why do silos have numbers?
Yeah, right. All the books and all the stars in the universe were pointless with no one to read them, no one to peer through the parting clouds for them. So he wants to go back to his life, man.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, wouldn't you?
He doesn't.
Right?
Hell yeah, dude. Anyone in the silo wants that.
I mean, part of me feels the same way. Like why couldn't we just go back to when things were good, both in real life and in this? But also part of me is like, a
lot of problems.
You got to get through all of this so you can get to what's really going to be good.
Yep. Yeah, there are a lot of problems before there were a ton of problems. It's just, this is just worse. So bad is better than worse, but it's still not good.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's restless. He's pacing, jogging among the servers. Showering had become an insufferable chore. That to me feels like he's brushing up against depression.
Okay, so I mean, yes, absolutely. I agree with you 100% there. But that also threw me out, or pulled me out a little bit, because like, wasn't there a conversation before about like him not being able to shower in there?
Thank you. That was exactly my thought. It's like, why are we now suddenly able to shower?
Yeah. Like, I thought that was like specifically mentioned.
It was. He stunk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that seems like a flaw, but there are bunks there. So maybe, I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe showering is you've got to go through a process. Bernard's got to like let you into the shower room or some shit like that. I don't know. I can't.
And you're just thrown in there too hastily. Could be.
I was thinking like maybe he doesn't want to have to go through all of that to shower, so he doesn't want to exercise and get all stinky because he doesn't want to have to bother with that. I don't know. It just felt weird. Pulled me out a little bit.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Again, still love the book, even if there's little things like that.
100%. He's, again, doing everything he can not to study. He's going through old silo notes, and what he eventually gets to, his magnum opus of not studying, is busting out Jules's generator handbook.
Yeah. Finding anything else to do.
You've got to be bored. You've got to be so fucking bored to bust out a generator manual even if it's written by the person you're in love with. Yeah. But yeah, the next page, it mentions that there are days that he dreaded her calling, dreaded getting caught by Bernard, or Bernard asking him to do things that he couldn't, things that he would never do again. I assume that's in reference to killing McLean.
Yeah, that's my thought too.
But yeah, he's going through the generator manual, and he sees it as a project not unlike his star chart. Basically something to occupy the time, something to learn, something to explore, something to be curious about.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really neat parallel.
Absolutely. Like there's a lot of parallels between Lucas and Juliette.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. There's a reason they attract.
Mm-hmm.
There's a nice little parallel universe, speaking of parallels, that he imagines, where she would get off work every night, come sit with him while he gazes into the darkness, thinking and watching and chatting and waiting. It's like, oh man, what could have been? So simple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's really tragic. But then Lucas becomes a bit of a creeper.
I gotta say, I'd probably do the exact same thing in his situation.
Would you?
Like 100%.
No. Really?
100%. Right. I would absolutely be the guy who I have access to the resources in front of me. I'd need to know. I would do the search. I'd try to figure it out. I 100% would be that guy.
Oh no. Oh well.
I'm not sure. So what we're talking about. I'm not sure I'd feel the same jealousy intensity that he felt. Sure. I mean, maybe sometimes in my life I've definitely felt that level of jealousy. I don't think I'd necessarily feel that way now, but I think I'd still be the one that like the curiosity got the better of me and had to figure it out.
See, if it's out of curiosity, I could see there being something to it, but his reaction, and we should probably talk about what we're actually talking about. We'll get there in a second, but his reaction of jealousy seems silly. I mean, I guess if you like this gal, but she's never even really, well, I guess the conversations now, but even before she left, there was it was so one-sided for so long.
It was very one-sided. It was very surface level. It was very much like she's attractive and I'm interested in her based on like a few things I know about her. And it's one of those things where you take in your mind and you make somebody, bigger more than they probably really are, because you're like imagining all the things that you want them to be versus what they are.
Yeah.
And
that makes sense.
Any good crush starts with that like imagination of who this person is, but then when it's like a good relationship is when all the things you discover about them for real line up with those like fantasies and imaginations. And it's like the ones when that they don't become reality that die out. Yeah. So, and I think that's kind of what happened though.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And what we're talking about is that she wrote this manual and then he flipped over to look through the play itself. And it says he scanned the lines looking for something poetic to capture his dark mood. As the text flowed by, his eyes caught a brief flash of familiar scrawl, not the actors.
Mm-hmm. Noting that it was Juliette.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and read this little poem, I guess.
Sure.
It's poemish.
I actually had a hard time reading it.
Yeah, it's rough
because of the script.
Wait, yours is written in script. Mine is just plain like Times New Roman.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's another fascinating change, especially since you got the actual book. I assume they would have kept this.
That is interesting. Maybe people complained that it was hard to read.
Maybe. I'm trying to see if it's actually, it's definitely a typed script. It's not a handwritten thing, but the font is one of like handwriting style. Yeah, I'm looking at the letters and like the W's are the same, the L's are the same. So I had a physical hard time reading it.
Oh, interesting. Well, here it is. Mm-hmm. George, there you lay, so serene, the wrinkles in your brow and by your eyes nowhere seen. A touch when others look away. Look for a clue, but only I know what happened to you. Wait for me. Wait for me. Wait there, my dear. Let these gentle pleas find your ear and bury them there so this stolen kiss can grow on a quiet love that no other shall know.
So that whole like only thing that I know, or only I know what happened to you. Mm-hmm. We obviously, Juliette was very much he was murdered. And then through the investigation, they discovered it was just a series of events that led to an industrial accident. And that tells me she never fully bought that. Like she never bought that doesn't happen. Like she still believed he was murdered, even though they closed the investigation.
Yeah. Yeah. And, so do we.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so Lucas flies into this little jealousy fit and starts looking up. Well, first of all, it says Juliette was never in a sanctioned relationship. He had checked the official records the day after they'd met. Fucking creeper. That's creeper behavior.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't fully agree that it's creeper behavior because, like, come on, like you meet somebody and like you're gonna like you see their Facebook page for the first time. You're gonna like go like see who they are by like kind of going through. And I don't think that's a creeper thing to do. It's public information. It's easy access. It's like you've got this curiosity, this interest, and you want to know. And like he's trying to find out, is she available? And I can totally get behind that.
No, I don't know. It feels a little intrusive to me, but we'll let it slide. The next part where he looks up who this person is less so. That right there, I feel is a little creepy. That feels a little too quick on the trigger.
You're probably right, but I would absolutely do the same thing. So I'm not sure what that says about me.
Fair enough. And on we roll.
Ladies, you're listening. I'm the creeper, apparently.
Oh shit, we were trying to get you a date. That's right.
I know.
Just fucking around. It felt intrusive.
I get that.
But you're right. But if there's no other way to know whether or not she's in a relationship or has been, that's fair. I don't know the rules of the silo. I don't know if that's readily available information. I don't know if that's something that he would otherwise have known. So if you are interested in someone, then you do need to know ahead of time.
I'm sure he probably had extra information because he works in IT. Like, I doubt that was publicly available information. And it probably is a little creepy that he went and used that power that he had to go find out about this girl he had a crush on. And I get that. And even like, I agree that like the whole like looking into George and trying to find who George is like kind of that obsessive sort of creeper behavior. But I'm going to be honest. I've probably done that same sort of thing or would be in that situation, especially when you've got nothing else to do.
Well, looking up the George thing makes a little more sense to me.
Yeah, because that's what I was referring to earlier when I said that I would do the same thing, not the looking up her relationship status, although that doesn't seem as bad to me as it seems to you.
It feels weird if it's not publicly available.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't know. We're dealing with a society that is entirely different rule set.
True.
And if that's not, it's hard to judge.
But humans don't really change all that much.
Yeah, that's also true. But ultimately, he does go and hunt down who George is. He goes through, I think, six Georges or something like that to find who the actual one is. And actually, a real quick math aside. So he started searching through George's. He finds 3 that are currently alive. One is 2 years old, one is a shadow, and one is 32 married with kids. Mm-hmm. Obviously not the people he's looking for. Then he does a search.
Well, unless it was an affair, but he didn't think that through, apparently.
But fair, yeah. But he does a global search that pulls hundreds of hits throughout the silo. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there are 3 alive right now. There were 3-ish I think 3 alive, maybe 4 during the time that would have made sense, the time frame that would have made sense. If it's been a few hundred years, hundreds of pings for George seems excessive. I'm being pedantic. I understand that, but it seems like an overestimation.
I don't think so. I think I seriously disagree.
Really?
Like if you have thousands of people in the silo and you've had hundreds of years, like you've had 300 years of population, and like every 20 years, approximately a new generation is born.
Okay.
I mean, that's going to be a lot of generations, right? So 300 times.
I'm talking minimum of 15 generations. Yeah.
So if we say, okay, so yeah, exactly. 15 generations.
That's minimum. Yeah.
And then thousands of people. So you take like, say 2,000 people, 15 generations, we're at 30,000 people throughout that time. I'd say hundreds of hits for George isn't extreme.
Okay.
I mean, maybe, but like, I don't know. We don't know their naming. We don't know their naming convention, right? We don't know like how many names really get cycled through there. We don't know like, do they just have a set number of names because they don't really think through? Like it's just the conventional. Like we know that we have a certain number of names that are like normal in our world. And like every once in a while somebody gets named something that you're like, that's weird. But then eventually that weird name kind of catches on and becomes a regular name. But I kind of imagine that in a world like this, they'd have the set number of names that just kind of get recycled all the time. And I don't think they'd necessarily like expand on them in the same way we do in our world, because it just feels like they'd have this like culture of like, this is what it is, and we don't really change things. And so if so, George would probably be a fairly common name in that world.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
15 generations. Math, yeah, I guess.
I could go either way. Ultimately a couple of hundred versus 30,000, maybe not. I don't know.
But the reason that it seems like a lot, because there are 3 alive at the moment and there were 4 alive at that time. It just doesn't feel like it's that prolific. It doesn't feel like there are, not sure. 50 Georges in the silo at a time.
Yeah, but maybe it had a resurgence, like at some point in time, like it was like Michael. Michael was the most popular
That's true.
name
it comes
for
in
like
waves.
40 years.
You're 100% correct. You know what? That's a really good point that I didn't consider. The names do come in waves, and you're absolutely correct with that. I did not consider that.
We've gone into this deep dive on the number of Georges. It's so silly and unnecessary.
I love it.
But I'm having fun doing it anyway.
Who cares? Anyway, so yeah, as we discussed, it was pegged as an industrial accident. It was investigated, which leads Lucas to realize that this is how Jules got to where she is. Essentially, this investigation is what actually kicked the ball down the road that started rolling, and this is how we got to where we are. And he decides that he's going to dive in and learn. So I hope that he does. I hope he learns everything. I want him to learn that Bernard, his good old buddy, killed him. I want him to learn that Jules had a secret husband. I want him to know all of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that that's what he's looking for, and I don't think he's going to necessarily find that information, but he might. Because, like, would Bernard really leave evidence behind that would be able to be pieced together that he murdered the dude? I doubt it. Like, I have a feeling that's the sort of thing that he's just not going to be able to see. Like, the official investigation is going to show the fact that it was an accident. Like, he might find evidence of Jules and George being a couple.
Yeah, but he has an advantage of knowing that there are 2 supply lines that Holston and Marnes did not.
Okay. Yeah.
So if it's an industrial accident, we discussed on a previous episode that having an intentionally bad supply line that could cause what looks like an innocuous accident is a great way to kill somebody if you have the capability. Like, that is so easy to get away.
Yeah, and he might be able to piece together that it was like the bad stuff. Does Lucas know that there was engineered to fail stuff? I imagine Juliette's probably told him at this point.
I would imagine she's told him, and with everything going on, he either pieced it together, he learned it, and he straight up says they're sending people out to die. But I mean, I guess that's the cleaning. That's just kind of standard.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah,
I don't know that it's been expressly communicated, but if he doesn't right now, he may.
But he's a smart enough guy. He probably would figure it out.
Yeah, he's going to have to soon because that's part of running the silo, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to eventually learn that. Whether he does at the crucial time of research or not, that's to be seen. But yeah, if anyone's got a chance at learning the truth, it seems like he'd be prime suspect.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's that. And now the last bit that we will be reading is the remainder of the book, which is wild.
Mm-hmm. I'm so excited to get through this.
Oh,
and I honestly don't know how many answers you're going to get because I know there's 2 more books worth, and I don't remember like when certain things are revealed.
Yeah, it's going to kill me.
But I can tell you that you're going to want to keep reading. That's pretty much all I can really say. Is you're going to want to keep knowing more.
I am going to want to keep reading, but I do believe that I want to do it on stream with you, but I don't want to do it back to back to back. So I think I'm going to have to put like 2 people between each book or something.
Podcast instead of a silo podcast instead of a all books podcast.
Exactly.
we'll give some books in between. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, we'll slide some other content in here.
Hugh Howey in the meantime.
Right. But yeah, man, I'm so looking forward to the final chapters of this book. It has been a wild ride, and
the conclusion,
boy howdy.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's going to land. I can't even begin to predict on this one. There's so many moving parts. It's hard to rope them in.
And I don't even remember. I don't remember how it ends.
Even better.
Because like when you know the rest of the story, it's hard to remember like at what point the information ended and then the next thing happened. Like, for example, and this isn't a spoiler because we know that there is stuff to learn. The end of season 2 of the show hints at flashing back to learn what happened, which is what happens in book 2. We get that flashback to learn that stuff, which is,
that's cool.
I'll be honest. When I started reading the flashback, I'm like, but this isn't Silo. Silo is, well, at the time I thought Wool because that's the only name I really knew. Well, no, I knew because the next book is called, I think, Shift. And so like for me, Wool, like this isn't Wool. They're not in a silo. This is like non-silo stuff. It's not the same, but I end up, of course,
open
because
space garbage.
What is this above ground bullshit?
Rat shit.
Not rat shit.
Not rat shit yet.
But yeah, because it's above ground, right?
Right.
But like, so I remember like feeling like, kind of like when I jumped into the non-Holston stuff, I'm like, who are these people? Like, this isn't what I was reading and I fell in love with. But of course, I fell in love with those characters and got into the story regardless. Sure. And it's the same thing with a new book of like, this isn't the same. But of course, I was sucked in and I loved it and I loved learning. So with that said, of like, at some point in time, we get that flashback stuff, right? And then there's more that we learn. And I do believe we come back to the Silo 18 stuff within those books. I don't remember if it's all in the second book or if it's like second book is all prep stuff and then third book is the Silo 18, or if it's like goes back and forth. I can't remember. But regardless, this ends and then new stuff is discovered. And I don't remember at what point that cutoff
things happen.
So I'm like,
well, I look forward to finding out.
I'm just as excited. Yeah, I'm just as excited to read this last section with you and like relearn how it ends because I don't fucking remember.
Badass. I can't wait, man.
All right.
Well,
until next time.
I'll see you then, folks. Those reading along, it's 73 to the end. Enjoy, and we'll see you next time.
And we're out.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us between the covers of today's story. If you'd like to help keep Shelf Indulgence alive and growing, you'll find our Patreon link in the description. Your support helps write the next chapter. A rating or review wherever you listen also helps other readers discover us and means more to me than you know. Most of all, thank you so much for being a part of this journey. I truly hope you'll keep turning the pages with us. Book by book, story by story. We'll see you next time.